Hi everyone, I'm super excited about today's video because I've been looking for a Jesmonite alternative, and to my surprise, I found this new ceramic resin from Brea Reese at Michael's. They have everything you need to get started and everything was on sale. I grabbed a couple things, and in this video we'll see how this product compares to Jesmonite. Could it be better? We'll see. Hey guys, welcome to today's video demo and review for the new Brea Reese ceramic resin. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jani and I'm an artist living in Raleigh, NC, sharing art tutorials and reviews here on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to receive notifications of new videos. Now, this is not a sponsored video. I purchased everything because I was genuinely curious to see how this product compares to Jesmonite. And in this video, I will show you how to use it and my opinion about it. I got this 5-pound tub of the ceramic resin, but they also have a variety of already colored mix, but I wanted to try the white so we can use the pigments to color it. I bought a few things, as you can see here, and this product does not tell you what ratio to use, but instead it will tell you the amount you need for their brand molds, which are categorized by sizes. One thing I did notice is that the tub says large makes 3, and I wasn't sure if it meant that this tub make 3 large pieces or the amount mixed will make 3 pieces. I looked online and they said, and I quote, "The bag you have can make 3 of our large molds. The measurements are for each mold," which doesn't make sense since 5 pounds can make a lot more than that. Also, when I mixed the batch for the large mold size, you'll see that it made a lot more and I had to pour it in different molds, but still the amount was not going to make 3 large molds. So this is very confusing. I don't know what happened there. I did the math and the percentage of water to powder will be 37.5%, meaning that if you use 1 cup, which is 16 tablespoons of powders, you subtract 37.6% and it will give you 6 tablespoons, which is the recommended amount in the tub. One thing I do love is that you don't need a part B because this resin is mixed with water. The molds that I got are size extra large and large. I also got their tool set, which includes a plastic whisk, a silicone mini spatula, a silicone stir stick, and the cup with the measurements per mold size. I also got some pigment ink, which are acrylic based, and I bought the pink, teal, and purple, but they also had yellow, green, blue, and black. I also got the sealant. I got the gloss sealant, which I didn't want but had no other option since the matte ones were all dried up. I read a review online on michaels.com that said that they were all dried up, and I decided to open the box before buying to see if they were dry, and all of them were. Before we start with the demo, I just wanted to clarify that you can use any brand mold that you have available. It has to be silicone though, so you don't need to buy their brand. And for the measuring cups, you can use any measuring cup. You don't have to buy this one. I just wanted to buy a couple things to show you. And in here, we're going to use our Brea Reese cup. In there, it says how much water you need for their molds, their size mold. It says small, medium, large, and extra large. So you fill the water to the line that you need, and you can do the same with the powder. And then I do recommend you to mix this in a plastic cup. I did mix mine in this cup, the Brea Reese cup, and then I had to wash it. Another thing that I want to mention, never pour resin through your sink. It can clog and cause a mess. So the best way to dispose of this mix is letting it dry in the cup, and then you can throw it in the trash. But you'll see that once it dries, you can just crumble it up and make your own terrazzo chips. So there's basically no waste. Okay, so here I have the exact measurement I need, and now we're going to slowly add the water. And I said slowly because if you add a bunch of water at the same time it's gonna be more difficult to mix. So I decided to add it slowly and then start mixing. I did notice that the measurements were kind of off. When I mixed the large one, it was thick, kind of like heavy cream. And then when I did the small one off camera, it was very, very watery. So I don't know what happened there, but you have to keep an eye on the measurements to make sure you're doing it right. On their website, it says that this product is non-toxic, but I still wore gloves and I wore a mask while I was pouring the powder in the cup. It does have a slight odor when you add the water, but nothing major. Make sure you mix completely and slowly to prevent air bubbles. And the consistency, as you can see here, is kind of watery, but as I worked more with this product over the past few days, I noticed that you don't even need to measure the water portion. I tried making some pieces by adding water until the mix was a heavy cream consistency, and it worked just fine. I feel that if you add a lot of water, the pieces turn out kind of powdery and it has more like a plaster feel as opposed to Jesmonite. I was going for a marble look, so I added a couple drops of the teal ink, and now I'm going to swirl the ink with the spatula. And now we're ready to pour. For this piece, I'm using the Brea Reese silicone flower pot molds. This one specifically is the large one. As you can see, we have some leftover mix, so I decided to make a couple more pieces with it. So I started adding different ink colors to make custom shades. I added pink to the blue, so we made kind of like a pretty winkle. And for the other one, I added a little bit more blue and I made kind of like a marble effect. After an hour, the pieces were ready to demold. As they were curing, I noticed that they were getting a little bit warm, just like Jesmonite. When I poured this piece, the resin was getting thicker, and since I didn't tap the mold, an air bubble got trapped in there, as you can see here. There are some very noticeable white specks on the piece, which sometimes happens specifically if you leave your pieces too long in the mold. They tend to disappear in 24 hours, but try demolding when the piece gets completely solid to prevent them from happening in the first place. This specific piece I'm going to leave in the mold so I can pour a different color on the other side. And the most difficult piece to demold was the flower pot, but if you roll down both silicone mold sides simultaneously, as you can see here, you will be able to demold it easier. I am super impressed with how everything turned out. I love the weight, the matte look. I think it looks just like Jesmonite for half the price, which is awesome. The molds are great quality, and I love that the pieces cure in just an hour. In the next clip, I will be talking more about my experience after working with this product for more than 3 days. I'm also sharing some tips and tricks, so stay tuned. Hello everyone, welcome back. It's been about 3 days, so they had plenty of time to cure, and I want to show you all the pieces that I've made. I was playing off camera, and I'm ready to talk to you about my experience, my whole experience with this ceramic resin. As you can see here, the white specks completely disappeared, just like Jesmonite. Those specks were very noticeable in the first 24 hours, but then they started to slowly disappear and you can't see them anymore. This one had a bunch of them, and as you can see here, it looks super cool. And let me see which one. I stamped one of these, so these can be stamped in case you have a brand. You can stamp that with your brand, and it's there. I am very impressed with this product. It feels heavy, it feels very good quality, and as you can see here, we can do plenty of stuff. Here, I haven't sanded this one yet, but I'm trying to do the terrazzo in half color. And in the back, you have to make sure to level it up. I ran out of the mix, so that's why this part is a little bit thinner, but you can always sand all of this. And when you sand this, it's gonna have black specks. It's gonna look super cool. And this one, you remember this side? Then I added a little bit of pink on this side, and this is how it looks like. And since I've been playing with this mix, I have a few things that I want to let you guys know. First is that they cure a lighter color than you see when you're pouring it. We were using these inks from the same brand, and if you can see, this one is a lot more pigmented because I used Jesmonite based pigments right here. I buy mine from Resin 8, but now you can purchase them on the United States because this is a UK brand, and these are very, very good for Jesmonite, but they do work for this brand. So have that in mind, that these are very light. So if you like pastel colors like this, by any means use them. But if you're looking for more saturated colors, I recommend the Jesmonite pigments. Okay, the next thing is that the recommended amounts, mixing amounts, I think they're a little bit too much. Sometimes if you add a little bit more water than it's supposed to, it kind of cures like plaster, and you can have some residue and it feels powdery. And for example, this one, let me see, my camera is in focusing, okay, there. If I rub it against my finger and I do this, you can kind of see my finger is white. It has a little bit of residue. That doesn't happen with Jesmonite. And this one feels kind of powdery here. Feels like plaster. This one does. But this mix had a lot of water in it. I didn't do anything different. I followed the instructions and the measurements in the cup, but you can feel it. When you touch it, it's kind of powdery. This one doesn't feel like that. This one feels very silky and smooth, and it doesn't have that powdery texture. And I don't know if you can see here in the back, but it looks kind of glossy instead of so like powdery. You can see the powder look, and you can even hear it, I think. All right, so that's something that I noticed with their brand cup, is that the measurements kind of are like a little bit off. Also, I mixed the amount recommended for this jar, and I got this jar and a couple more things I don't remember now, but it's in the video. So it's not like you're gonna mix that amount and it's gonna yield for 1 cup. It's gonna have some leftover, and then you can use it for something else, which is not bad. But I mean, if I'm gonna do 1 piece, I want the exact amount. Also, the cup was a little wobbly, so I don't know if that affected the amount of water that I added. That could be a problem too. So it wasn't the best quality. The mixers, these things, the spatula, this and the other, were good, were cool, and they work very well, but the cup itself, I don't recommend it. I haven't tried to sand pieces yet. I don't know how they react when exposed to water, you know, because we do the water sanding. I'm gonna do another video showing you how to make this piece and then how to sand it, and I'm gonna show you how they react with the water and if it's good for sanding like that. The working time, I will say it will be around 2 minutes, depending on the amount of water that you add. If you add too much water, you'll have a longer work time. If you add a little, then it starts hardening a little bit faster. And I also noticed that when we add a little bit less water than it's recommended, it kind of cures faster, and you can demold it maybe in 30 minutes instead of the 60 minutes. I'm a very impatient person, and believe me, I tried this and it worked. What I'm doing right now is just adding the powder to the cup and then adding a little bit of water, start mixing it, and when I get to the desired consistency, I pour, and I just wait like around 30 minutes and it works for me. So you can definitely eyeball it, just don't make it too thick because it will cure kind of weird. So the pros, what I really like about this brand is that you mix it with water. You don't need to mix it with another part, like for example Jesmonite. So that's a huge plus for me. Another thing is that it feels heavy and it feels good quality. It cures fairly fast in 60 minutes or maybe less. You can use any acrylic based inks, and it cures white, not off-white like Jesmonite. If you have used Jesmonite in the past, you know it cures kind of like a beige or tan color. This one cures completely white, so you don't need white pigment. And that's awesome because for Jesmonite you have to use a lot of white pigment for it to be really white, and then the textures get kind of weird if you add a lot of pigment. So I really like that about this resin. It doesn't feel fragile at all. This piece right here, it does feel fragile, and as you can see if you listen, it's kind of like if it's glass. And I'm just gonna break one of these just for the sake of it so you can see. So we have 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6. So I'm gonna break an X. I'm gonna break an X. That's funny. Anyway, here so you can see. It's easy to break because this one is very thin and small. But when I was going to do the test with this one, I mean, not the test, when I was gonna break it in half to do this effect, I had to kind of like push it very hard, and it wasn't cured completely. I demolded in 30 minutes and I tried to do that, and still it was very hard for me to break. Cons. Well, it cures a lot lighter than it seems when you're pouring. If you add too much water, it will feel like plaster. Thin pieces will break easily, but that's with any other material that's very thin. You can break it very easily. Oh, one thing I forgot to say, if it's very thin, you can get a lot of details. For example, with this right here. I love that about this resin, because with Jesmonite tends to be very thick, and then when you have details like this, you will not catch them up so easily. And as you can see here, it looks great. Another con is that the pigment inks are not very saturated, and you need to use a lot to get just a little bit of color. They are very nice for this effect, the marble effect, but if you want to get very saturated pieces, I will not recommend this pigment inks. Another thing that I didn't like is that the cup is wobbly and the measurements are kind of off. Their molds are great quality. I do recommend them. They are very thick and they feel nice. They are not in a weird shape. Like sometimes when you buy silicone molds, they tend to be kind of like this, smashed and stuff like that. These look great and they perform great, as you can see. Very good quality. This one do have in mind that has like a line right here. You can see it in the mold and you can see it here. It's like a small line. For some people I know that it's not a big deal, but for some I know it will be, so please have that in mind. The sealer I use for this piece right here, and if you use a brush, you're gonna have the brush strokes. So I recommend using a little sponge. I haven't tried to put something on it with water yet to see if it holds up. It's not super glossy, as you can see, so I really like that. It's more like a satin look. I guess if you build the sealer on top of this, it will look a little bit more glossy, but I kind of like that look. It's not as glossy as I was expecting it to be. I did mix it with a little bit of water, just a little, just like I dabbed my brush on a little bit of water and then added a little bit of sealer and work that way, like I do with Jesmonite. So it worked with this one too. And another tip that I have for you before I forget, when you mix your resin, you can use plastic cups and then you can just do this. And you have some terrazzo. You don't have to buy the terrazzo, you can make it with the residue that's on the cups. It's very easy to use, very easy for beginners or even for kids. It says that it's non-toxic. I still recommend you to wear a mask while pouring the powder and mixing. And then you can take it off and keep working on it. Another pro is you can use any mold. You don't have to use just the molds that they sell. So if you have silicone molds, you can use it with whatever silicone mold you have. Overall, I really like this product. I do recommend it. I was very impressed. I was not expecting it to be this good. I will be buying more in the future. Stay tuned because I'm gonna be making a lot more videos on how to paint them, put stickers on them, vinyl. We're gonna get very creative with this, and I'm gonna share my process with you. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one.